Why use a specialist? Well, private education is a really important and expensive investment to make. And, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't go and buy an incredibly expensive coat without sort of, doing some research and looking and knowing whether that brand was better than that brand and what I was getting. It sounds like a silly example, but I think, this is a huge decision. I think particularly if families are unfamiliar with our system, we have a lot of schools. We have schools who all really claim to be doing the same thing on their websites. You need someone who really understands the nuance and can tell you sort of the inside and outs of schools and the sort of the knowledge that you can't necessarily get from kind of school websites or gossip that you hear. So I think I think it's become more and more common to use a specialist just to get some extra help. It's a tough thing to go through on your own.
A lot of families get quite stressed, quite anxious about where we're going to go to school. So it's essential to have someone who knows what's going on to de-stress everything, keep everything calm, and yet gently on track for what we're hoping to achieve.
My background is a headmistress. I was a headmistress of a girls' prep school in London, and I now work as an educational consultant. And what that means is that I help families to navigate the schools process. To be a school placement specialist, it helps if you have an educational background. I've spent much of my career in schools helping parents work out what would be the right next school for their child. The process of school placement, we like to do a lot of sort of prep work. We like to hear lots, speak to lots as parents, hear about your own educational background and philosophy. We obviously need to meet the children or the child pretty early on and talk to them on their own if they're old enough.
For example, we might find someone in school for sixth form or perhaps for their 13 plus or even after 11 plus. We're very used to working alongside the school, the family, towards tweaking things to get them into the school they should have always gone to.
A school placement specialist is really for anybody. It's for families who are relocating. It's for families who have found that they're a bit lost and they're in the dark about how our system works, even if they're familiar with that system. But then there's another important bit, which is talking you through those options that you do have and working out which one's the right one for you and guiding you through all that acceptance process and preparing you for the schools. Sometimes schools will say, look, you're starting, but you need to put all of this into place before you begin.
Specialists at Lionheart can coordinate the tuition to support the achievement of the child.
We love hearing from parents who tell us how things are going, and we also like to check in, make sure there's anything else they need, see how things are going. So it doesn't just end when a placement happens, it goes beyond that.